right here with the handle. How you doing, my brother? Come talk to me real quick, bro. How you doing today? So, what we're here doing, my brother, we're here showing who we are according to the Bible. Who are we before we got off them slave ship or on them slave ship? Who were we? You see something on the sign right here, my brother? Where you at on this sign, bro? Come a little closer so you can read the sign. Right. We ain't gonna bite you. You our brother. Where you see something on this sign right here, my brother?
What are they?
So look here, my fault. On this side of the sign, this is what God calls us. And on this side of the sign, this is the name we were given in our slavery, right? So where you see stuff on the sign, bro? American black? So, the American blacks are from the tribe of Judah of the nation of Israel. That's your true nationality, right? And let's prove that. Let's prove that out of the Bible that this is who we really are, and we're not so-called black people or African American, right? So let me ask you this real quick. Where did that term African American come from? You remember? Or when was it placed on them? They gave it to us, right? You remember like what year, what era, what time period we got that name, African American?
First time I remember it, about 80s.
You absolutely right. It was coined by Jesse Jackson in like the mid-80s, like 84, 85, right? So that term African American, right? What year were you born, sir? If you mind me asking. 69, right? So how can you be an African American when you was born before we even got the name put on it? Right. You see how they don't make sense? We have a very extensive history way before slavery, and we're gonna find that out today. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1 to find out who the Bible even talking about. Deuteronomy 1 and 1. Come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1.
Read.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
All who?
All Israel.
People right here on this side, this is who Moses was speaking to. When Moses went up and got the laws and commandments from the Lord, he came down and gave them to the Israelites, right? Read that again.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Right, so we're talking about the Israelites, right? So go to Deuteronomy 28 and read verse 15. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. How we doing, my brother?
How y'all doing?
What your shirt say? Are you a Hebrew? Okay. How we doing?
Love y'all.
Oh yeah?
I like what y'all doing.
Okay, bet. Hey, so brother, stick around, bro. Stick around. Read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15.
Come on.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses will come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right. So my brother, right? So I see your shirt, right? Your shirt says Hebrew Israelite, right? So you know you're Hebrew, right? You know you're an Israelite.
Yes, I know that.
All right. So let me ask you this. Give me Deuteronomy 10 and verse 12. Because it's thing that we must do as Israelites, right?
Right.
Come on, Deuteronomy 10 and verse 12. Read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And now Israel, what do the Lord thy God require of thee?
Right. So now you know you Israel, right? He found out he Israel, right? So what does the Lord require of us, right? Read.
But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord.
To do what?
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
So the Israelites' job was to keep the commandments of God, right? So no. There is, bro, I'm trying to help you out. So look, let me give you this real quick before you go, bro. Number 1538. Because you got the shirt on, bro, but you have to know the thing that you must do. Numbers 1538, bro. Read that. No. I'm trying to help you out, bro.
No, you ain't helping me out.
The commandments is what's going to get us out of the condition that we're in. Read that.
Numbers chapter 15, verse 38.
Read.
Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. And then they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
Right. So, brother, back to you, bro. So he know he Israel, right?
Right.
You finding it now that you an Israelite, right? It's thing that the Israelite must do because we broke the Most High God's commandments. This is why we got this. Because we broke the commandments, we got whipped on our backs. We got put on slave ships. We got yokes of iron and neck because we refused to keep the commandments of God. But we're going to read one commandment that he could easily keep to help us get out of the condition that we're in. Read that again. Number 15:38.
Numbers chapter 15, verse 38.
Read.
Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments.
Right. So if you look at every brother out here, we got fringes on the borders of our garments, right? It said that we should make them throughout our generations. So he know he Israel. He know he's supposed to be doing this, but he ain't out here showing that he know that he Israelite. He not showing how to keep the commandments of God. Read.
In the fringes, in the borders of their garments, throughout their generations.
Read again from the top.
Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations.
Right, stop. So as long as we're generating as a people, as long as we're still having kids and our kids having kids, we're supposed to keep this one simple commandment, right? Read.
And they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
Right, so if you look at everybody's shirt, we have a ribbon of blue that goes around the fringe. It don't matter what color blue it is, as long as it's blue, it has to be on around the border of the fringe, right? Read.
And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord.
And do what?
And remember all the commandments of the Lord.
So the Most High God gave us a remembrance to help us to remember to keep his commandments. Because guess what? When you're about to do something that you know you're supposed to do, your friend is here as a remembrance. Your friend is here as a safety net to keep you from committing that sin, right? So, read on.
Remember all the commandments of the Lord.
You got a flyer? You got a flyer? Yeah, you get a flyer. Hey, all the info is on the back of that flyer, bro. Check us out. We got our website, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Bro, check us out, bro, and give us a call, man. Come by the school, bro. Hey, how you doing, my bro?
This is Will.
How you doing, man? What's your name? Will? Oh, Will. Okay, cool. So, hey, bro. So what we're out here doing? We're out here showing people who we are according to the Bible, right? So,
Check this out.
on this sign right here, my brother right here too. Look at this sign right here, bro. This is what God calls us, and this is what we were called in the land of our captivity, where we were brought to as slaves. Where you see yourself on the sign right here? How about you, my brother? Where you see yourself on the sign right here, my brother? What's your name, sir? Otis. Yes, sir. Mr. Otis. So where you see yourself on the sign, Mr. Otis? On this sign right here, you got what God calls us, and then you got what we would call in our captivity, right? So, on this side, the so-called black man in America, we would call American blacks, or Negro, or colored, right? I'm sure you heard all them names before, right? So, but let's prove to you that you are not a colored, that you're not African American, and that you're not black, right? Because black is a color in a crayon bottle.
Right.
My jacket is not the same color as my skin. See what I'm saying? Black has no power behind that word. It's just the color. So, go back to Deuteronomy 1:1 and read that for me so Mr. Otis can know that we're talking about the children of Israel, right? Read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1.
Come on.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side of Jordan.
Right. So, Mr. Otis, when the Bible was written, it was written to the children of Israel, right?
Right.
So, and that's who we are. And we're going to prove that right now. Deuteronomy 28 and read verse 48. Come on. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 48. Mr. Otis, listen up, sir. Because this is some very important information that you ain't never heard in your life. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48.
Come on.
Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
Right. So, Mr. Otis, can you see this sign right here, sir? You see this sign right here? So, this is what the Bible is talking about. Come over here and read for me again. Read that again.
Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies.
So, Mr. Otis, did we not serve our enemy? Yes, sir. Read on.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Who sent them?
The Lord shall send against thee.
So, the Most High God sent our enemies against us. Read.
In hunger.
And what?
In hunger.
If you want food, you got to go to them. Because they what? They own Walmart, they own Kroger, they own Publix, right? Read on.
And in thirst. And in nakedness.
If you want water, you got to go to them too. You got to pay a water bill, right?
Right.
Read.
And in want of all things.
So whatever you want, Mr. Otis. If you want a driver's license, If you want to build something on your land, you gotta get a building permit. Whatever you want, you gotta go to these people, right? Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
He do what?
Put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So, Mr. Otis, you see this sign? You see the yoke of iron?
Yeah.
Right? That happened to who? That happened to us, right? So the Bible is talking about a specific people. But the Bible calls them the Israelites. But they've known today in this land as what? American blacks, Negroes, colored. But God calls them the Israelites. Read that part again.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he had destroyed thee.
So, Mr. Otis, it said that he put a yoke of iron on our neck until we were destroyed. How are we destroyed as a people, Mr. Otis? How about you, sis? How are we destroyed as a people? That's what the Bible just said. Read that part again.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he had destroyed thee.
Right. So God said that a certain man, the so-called white man, will put a yoke of iron on the children of Israel's neck until they were destroyed. We're showing you that this is our history that we're reading out of the Bible. So-called Negroes, Hispanics, we went into the same slavery, right? So the Bible says until we were destroyed. How were we destroyed? Let me get y'all a hint. So how would you train an animal or train a dog, right? How?
I can't tell you that in 1 minute.
So here's the thing, right? Right. Yes, ma'am. So here's the thing, right? So when you train somebody, right, or you train an animal, right, you have a collar on it. You have a leash, right? And you train it to stay here, do this, sit, bark, roll over, all these things, right? It's the same thing with those yokes of iron. We were trained to do everything that the white man trained us to do. Pick cotton, get up, get a little bit of water, work all day. It's the same thing, the same routine over and over again, because that's how we were trained. Where you from, sis? Trinidadian, right? So you'll be from the tribe of Benjamin. Right here on this sign, sis. On this sign right here. So-called West Indians are from the tribe of Benjamin. You are Israelite according to God. You are not. So what does the word West Indian mean, sis? Do you know? Mr. Otis, you get a flyer, sir?
Yeah, I got one.
All right, read back in that flyer and call it. Hey.
Let's see if they taught you this.
So sis, what does
See if they taught you this.
West Indian mean? Do you know?
Watch it. This is our history.
Well, Columbus once, when he was traveling, trying to find new land, came upon the Caribbean, and he thought it was India. He thought he reached India because all of the inhabitants were black people with straight hair. So he said he came to India until they realized okay, this was totally new land. This was what they call today the Americans.
Right.
So the name originated from the west. So they named it West India.
Okay.
Since it was not part of India or India at all.
Okay.
And he figured that he had as I said, it's a
Right.
It's
It's a lot of history behind it. It's a lot of history behind what that word means. But it's like the word Indian means slave, so it's like a Western slave, or another word for it would be the land of wood and water. So that's going into the name that they put on us. Pretty much, when you say West Indian, you say that you're a West slave or Western slave, right? So let's go back over here. So sis, let me ask you this, right? You go to church? No? Well, let's say you went to church. How about you, sis? You go to church? But you do go to church, right? Okay. So, what have you learned? Have you ever heard that the children of Israel were the so-called black people in church? Did they ever teach you that? Never, right? Because the Bible is speaking about a certain people. From the front to the back, it's talking about the children of Israel.
That's right.
From the front of the book to the back of the book. It does not include nobody else. The kingdom of heaven is only for the 12 tribes of Israel. It's not all inclusive. It's not for the so-called white man. It's not for the Indian man or the German man. It's only for the children of Israel, right? And we're showing you that we are the children of Israel. And the kingdom of heaven belongs to us and only us The Lord God is only our God and nobody else. Right. Read that. Joel 2:27. Read it real quick. So sit. What you got? Give me what's your question?
It's only for us to be on the black side.
People right here on this sign says this is who the kingdom of heaven is for. So let's prove it. Let's prove it, sis. Read that. Joel 2:27. Read it.
Joel chapter 2 and verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
Who?
I am in the midst of Israel.
So the Most High God said he's only in the midst of Israel. This is the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Come on, read.
And that I am the Lord your God.
Who?
I am the Lord your God.
I am the Lord your God. Read.
And none else.
Wait a minute. Read it again.
That I am the Lord your God and none else.
And none else. The Most High God is only the God of the 12 tribes of Israel. Nobody else.
Right.
That's the confusion that they've given in church today. They made it all inclusive when the Bible is, what's the word, subclusive or, I don't know. It's just for the children of Israel, right? It ain't for nobody else, right? So, but it's thing that we must do as Israelites, we must come back to our nationality because we've been given false nationalities in the land of our captivities, right? Give me Baruch chapter 4. Read Baruch chapter 4 and start at verse 1. So sis, we're going to show you what the Bible is. What the Bible is and who the Bible is for. Come on, read that. Baruch 4 and 1.
Baruch chapter 4 verse 1.
Read.
This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
So sis, I want to show you this sign right here. Because the children of Israel was given the laws of God, right, as a heritage for them to keep. I'm pretty sure you know the movie The 10 Commandments. I'm pretty sure you've seen it before, right? The children of Israel was acting a fool in the wilderness. You can read about it in the Bible. But that movie, it portrays them as white folks, but they're not white people. It was us, our people, right?
That's right.
So, read that again.
This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. All that keep it shall come to life.
So if you keep the Most High God's commandments, his laws, you shall come to life. Read.
But such as leave it shall die.
So when you leave the commandment, you're going to what?
Shall die.
You died, right? So when they was in wilderness, did they not die? When they was worshiping that golden calf, right? They died behind that thing, right? Because they left the commandments of God and started worshiping idols, doing God knows what else, right? So that's why they died, right? Read down to verse, let me see, where you were? Verse 6.
Verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath.
Read that again.
Ye were sold to the nations.
It said we were sold unto the nations. Cargo slave ships. When we got off the land, were we not sold? We were sold to people in Europe. We were sold to people in South America. We were sold to people in Australia. We were sold all over the planet Earth, right? Read.
Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction,
Right. We were sold not because to our destruction. Read.
but because you moved God to wrath.
Because we moved God to what?
To wrath.
We made God mad because we refused to keep his commandments. That's why we were sold into slavery as a people. Read on.
Ye were delivered unto the enemies.
We will do who?
Ye were delivered unto the enemies.
Ye were delivered unto the enemies. Hey, how you doing, my brother?
How you doing, sir?
So, what we're doing is we're showing who we are according to the Bible, right?
Yes, sir.
That we, as a people, we have enemies. God keeps saying that people that enslaved you is your enemy. But today we call them our best friends. We want to hang out with them. We want to marry them. We want to slap hands with them. We want to hug them. But God says they are our enemies. Read that part again.
Ye were delivered unto the enemies.
And to the who?
Unto the enemies.
God says you were delivered into your enemies. Because guess what? Somebody who says they're your friend, they wouldn't put you in no damn slave ship. They wouldn't put no yokes of iron on your neck. They would not whip your back like this. They wouldn't do it. A friend wouldn't do that to you. But guess what? An enemy would. An enemy would do just this thing right here. Read that part again.
Ye were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrifices unto devils.
Damn.
And not to God.
Yo, the Bible is, hey, I love this book. It says that we were sold to the enemies because we were sacrificing unto devils and not to the Lord our God. That's why this happened to us. So, hey, you got a question, sis? What's your question?
Well, I got to go. Thank you.
Hey, sister, read that flyer and sis, put the cigarette down too. Them things ain't no good. Sis, hold on, before you go, I gotta give you one thing before you go. Read that. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Since before you go, I gotta give you this. 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 16. Read that for the sister.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16.
Read.
Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
So since we are the temple of God, our bodies that we dwell in, we are the temple of God, right? Read.
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
The Spirit of God dwells in all of us, right? Read.
If any man defile the temple of God,
So it says, if any man or woman defiles your temple that God gave you, come on,
him shall God destroy.
him shall what?
Him shall God destroy.
So sis, after reading this and you listen to this, how God gonna show you behind smoking that cigarette? How? Sis, leave them things alone. God, he will bring cancer upon you.
Right.
He will bring emphysema upon you. You don't I want to walk around with no dang a hole in your neck, sis. You don't want that thing. You don't want it. You don't want that. Sound like a doggone robot, sis. You don't want that. Drop.
I'm working on it.
Eating pork too. Hey, drop them look, drop the cigarettes, drop the pork, drop the crab, drop the lobster. Them things is bad for us and they killing us.
I love that.
Sis, hey, we gonna show you. We gonna show you that God said those things are bad for you.
Really?
Yes, ma'am, they bad for you. Give me 2 more minutes, sis, and we're gonna show you that.
What time? I got to pick my dog.
Just 2 minutes. That's all we need, about 2 minutes. Read on it.
One second.
No.
Yes, sir.
Leviticus chapter 11 verse 7.
Come on.
And the swine, though he,
And the what?
and the swine,
What's the swine? That's a pig, right? The swine is the pig. Read.
though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you.
He is what?
He is unclean to you.
He is unclean to you, sister. But why? But why? Think about it. Why is a pig unclean? Why? Just think about it. It's not only the mud, sis. So how the pig system work, whatever he eats dead animals.
Oh, really?
He's a part of the Most High God's cleanup crew. So look here. So sis, the earth has a very diverse ecosystem, right? God created everything to work in its purpose, right? So you got pigs, you got vultures, you got crows, all the animals you see on the side of the road eating them dead animals, that's God's cleanup crew. That's what they were designed to do, to keep the earth clean. The pig will eat anything it finds, dead or alive. Yeah. And what happens is, when it eats, it can't clean itself. So all those toxins stay in the pig's body. Sis, read that flyer, sis. Read that flyer right there, sis, and call it. Sister, leave that alone.
I didn't know that.
That's how we get high blood pressure. That's how we get gout. That's how we lose limbs behind that thing. Because we love things that we don't supposed to eat. God said leave the pig alone, but no, we want to keep eating it. Well, you know it, you got high blood pressure, gout, your arm cut off, your leg cut off. Why? Because we put things in our body that don't supposed to be in there. Right? So read that again.
And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you. Of their flesh ye shall not eat.
Of their flesh, of their meat, you shall not what?
Ye shall not eat.
God says don't eat it because he made it to clean the earth up. It ain't designed for you to eat. You can eat chicken, you can eat beef, you can eat lamb, you can eat fish, but certain kinds of fish. Drop down to the fish.
Verse 9, these shall ye eat.
Hold on. No, sis, tilapia is fine. It's a clean fish. You can eat tilapia.
Somebody told me what good it is. I love that too.
So, the thing with tilapia is it's raised on farms, right? They're not really found in fresh bodies of water. Like, they're raised on farms, and then the farmer feeds it whatever he gonna feed it. Some people don't like to eat that stuff. They like to eat fish that come from the lakes, from the streams, right? So that's the only problem with tilapia. But tilapia is a clean fish to eat. So we're gonna read what God says about the fishes. Read.
These shall ye eat of all that are in the water.
So whatever's in the waters, lakes, streams, ponds, right?
Whatsoever have fins and scales.
So whatsoever has fins and scales. Come on, because guess what? What fish has fins but don't got scales? Think about it. And black folk love to eat it. Catfish. You already know. Catfish. Black folk love that thing. But God says, do what?
Whatsoever have fins and scales.
It has to have fins and scales for it to be clean for you to eat it, Reed.
in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers. Them shall ye eat.
Them are the clean fish you should eat. So whatever fish, bass, trout, crappie, those have fins and those have scales. You can eat them, they are clean fish. But why not the catfish? It's a bottom feeder. Like when I told you the earth is diverse ecosystem, even in the waters, God created things to keep the waters clean. Catfish eat the dead stuff. They are bottom feeder. So guess what? When you fish for catfish, you fish on the top of the water or you fish at the bottom? You fish at the bottom. You put the sinkers on there, you throw it, you let it sink. That's where they at. They down there cleaning the bottom of the water to keep it clean down there. To keep the whole lake clean or the ocean clean, wherever they at clean. That's their job. And when you eat them things, you eat whatever they eat, right? So when we decide to eat these things, we take on their toxins. So give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 61. And we're going to read about what God says. So it says, hey, throw them pork skins away. They ain't no good for you. Don't eat that bag. Don't eat it. Don't eat that bag. They ain't number $2. Throw away the $2, sis. Right. Hey, no more pork, no more crab, lobster, no more catfish, sis. All right? Read that flyer. Read that flyer.
What was that at?
That was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again.
What is nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.